What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this week's episode, we're going to look at the red passenger train from 2010. This is part of the RC train collection, and in next week's episode, you're going to see the yellow cargo train, and the week after that, you're going to see all the RC trains from 2010 to 2011 combined in one video. Should be pretty fun. I'm going to dive right into the set. I'm going to show you all the cool features, the figures, each train car. I'll show you the train moving around on the track. I will show a 360 of the box at the end of the video, and I'll show you each instruction booklet you get with the set. I won't go into each page of the instruction booklets, but you can find them on lego.com if you're looking to build this set. This set does have 4 booklets. You can actually download each and every one of them. If you're only missing one of them, you can download that one and you can actually print them all off if you'd like to do so. All right, let's get right into the set. The first part of the train set build is the platform, which is in booklet number 1. In this booklet, you'll actually get to build the first 2 minifigures. I will show you all the minifigures to the set towards the end of the video. The platform is very similar to the platform we saw in last week's video, the train station. Now, it's not nearly the size, but I do mean, looking at all the features of it, the stairs that go up on this side and down on this side are identical to the stairs for the train station. The parts where it hooks to the train tracks are identical. The yellow modified tiles along the edge of the platform are identical. The seating with the yellow round 2x2 plates and then the blue chairs, identical. The light post, identical. However, we get this side piece here. If you take away the clock, we have the exact same feature, or this entire little part of the build. We have this piece here on the train station set itself. However, this plate is a 1x8 in red, and this tile is a 1x6 tile in red instead of yellow. I love the yellow accents. The stickers also look nearly identical. However, if you look closely at them, you can see that the time is different for the destinations, which would make sense because if we're in a city and the train is at a station, and then you see this time, well, that train would be at this station at a different time. It is very cool that they went the extra mile to show on the sticker itself that we have a time difference from one platform to another. I like that. And then we have the blue trash can. That's pretty much it for the platform. It is very basic and simplistic, but it has everything it needs for a small train platform that would be in a rural part of your city. It has enough room for several minifigures, and again, it has another train stop for your entire train collection or your run throughout your city. Additionally, in booklet number 1, or bag number 1 of the set, you're going to build this signal post. Now, what I love about the signal post is we incorporate these hinge pieces. We have one on the bottom and one on the top. They just utilized a hinge here instead of a bracket piece, and I thought that was great usage. Then we have modified tiles. This is another great use of modified tiles in the set. It is the back seat piece that you typically see in a Lego car. Whenever you see signal posts in real life, they have this bar type design to them. Although it is quite simplistic, I love how it looks. I love that they incorporated it in the set. You can actually connect it to any curve, any straight, even flexible track because it has this 2x3 green plate that just attaches to your railroad tie. This is also relatively simplistic, and I bet you could buy a bunch of these parts on Bricklink or lego.com to recreate several of these, and that is what I will look to do when I build my entire Lego city. That was the first part of the build, and it brings me into our next part of the build, the very fun part of the build, the Locomotive, which is in booklet number 2. This is our largest booklet for the train set. Locomotives for Lego train sets are always enjoyable to build. The RC trains in this era utilize power functions. If you're unsure about Lego power functions and how to utilize your remote control and your IR receiver that is in the Locomotive, check out my red cargo train video. I do in-depth details on how this remote works, how it pairs with the receiver, and different things you could do with these remotes to have the train operate differently. I will leave links in the description of this video to that video in case you want to see that after you watch this entire review. Looking at the Locomotive, you'll notice there are not many windows on it, and that is because within here we have our battery box and our IR receiver. Now they can be easily removed by taking this top canopy off, and then you could easily access your battery pack. It is also a part of the build that you can pull out simply because it rests on tiles within the Locomotive, and it has wires that attach to the IR receiver. The IR receiver is built into the Locomotive, so it is not easily removable like the battery box. However, when you open up the glass panel on the front of the train car, our window seat where our engineer or driver would be here, you can see that you have your IR receiver in the back here, and you could simply adjust the receiver to settings 1, 2, 3, or 4. The engineer has a seat here, and again, we have a blue seat. These are utilized all throughout the train set. We have a control panel here, windows for him to see out on both sides. Looking at the stickers for the Locomotive, on the front, right on the glass, we have the one that says Lego City. This sticker is pretty awesome because it's spelled out Lego City with a bunch of little dots. And this is how it would look when you have signs that are a bunch of little light bulbs and then only some of them illuminate things that are changing. Clocks, for example, where they have different lines in them. That digital style sign, I really like that. Then we have several railroad logos on this locomotive. We get one on the front that is the black printed railroad logo. We get those same ones on the back sides of this locomotive that you'll also see identical stickers on the train cars after this. We have the large railroad logo in white on a black panel. We get two of those, one on each side. And then we get our stickers down bottom. Now these are common for train sets where one side says water and electronics and the other is for pneumatics and oil. On the very back of the train car, I like showing that there's a window there. It's not really that important for the locomotive itself, but that window would act as a door to go between train cars. If you'll notice up top, there are two final things to point out. One, we have our IR receiver here that is exposed, and that allows our remote control to make a nice connection with our train. And then we have our piece up top that would catch wires to get electricity for this locomotive. After building the locomotive and starting off with the Lego power functions, it's now time to build one of the passenger wagons, which brings us to booklet number 3. This passenger wagon is very basic. I do love it, but there's not a whole lot to it. On the top of the train car, we have plenty of vents and what would be like a fan. When we open up the train car, however, this is a part where, hey, it can hold a lot of figures, but there's not much design work in there at all. And the flooring has plenty of holes in it. So it's not, again, doesn't have great design work, but they went with something that was a basic play set. It holds figures, and they're not looking to go overly crazy with details. And the only other thing I could think of is that they would want to decrease the amount of parts to use in the build to decrease the price of the set for consumers, and therefore they didn't do any of those fine details. However, in here we still get 6 seats, we get 3 tables, you can fit plenty of other figures standing, and you know, this wagon serves its purpose. It can hold minifigures and transport them throughout your city. And again, this is a play set, and when I was a kid building this, I would have been 12 at the time, and I loved it. It was definitely a fun train set. I do love the cargo train more, and that's mainly because we didn't have passenger trains like this near me, and it wasn't until many years later when I actually got to ride on passenger trains that were like this. We have a lot of older looking locomotives with the old passenger trains here in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I had not been on any of the city trains that go in between different cities, either in the US or in other countries. Now, having done all that, I have a much greater appreciation for this train set. This passenger wagon has a few stickers itself. It does have 2 of those railroad logos, one on each side. These are the same stickers that we saw on the locomotive, and you'll see the exact same sticker on the final train car in a moment. Then down bottom, we have also the same stickers, but this section of the train car between the wheels is larger on the wagon here. It has pneumatics and oil on one side and water and electronics on the other. We've seen this on the locomotive, and we'll see it on the train car after this. Now that brings me into booklet number 4, our final booklet for the train set. In this booklet, you'll build what looks just like the locomotive, and it really is just similar to the locomotive. It's just the end of the train. However, we have no power functions in here, so instead of power functions, we now have seating. You'll notice on the locomotive it has all black panels along the side, and on this we get all of those dark transparent windows. It's transparent brown, or I used to know it as transparent black, but I believe it's called transparent brown now. Anyway, we open up this top roof and we can access 4 seats there. There are 2 tables, again, plenty of holes in the floor, but a simple build that does hold plenty of figures. And you could fit a lot of figures in here if you really wanted to, which is really nice, and that's the whole point of this, is we're transporting lots of passengers throughout different parts of the city. Where we would have had the IR receiver, we're using one of these rounded sloped pieces. I think that looks great. We have the same stickers that we had on the locomotive. We have our large white railroad stickers that are on the windows this time. They're not on the black panels. We have the electronics and water sticker, the pneumatics and oil sticker. We have these 2 railroad logo stickers on the side that we've seen on the sides of all the other cars. On the back end, we do have another one of those railroad stickers underneath the canopy. And then on the glass canopy, we have another Lego City sticker there. And I do really like that Lego City sticker where its design is again with a bunch of little lights. I think that's very creative. That is our final train car, and now it's time to put them all together and put them on the track. This is what the train looks like in motion once you add your power functions. Again, if you're interested in seeing how to use the power functions, or if you have questions on them, I encourage you to check out the video description after this and check out the red cargo train video. In that, I have a whole section on power functions for this era, how they work, how you can change the receiver and the remote around, and what all the little buttons do on the remote. Now let's get into the figures for this set. There are actually 3 minifigures with this set. We get a male traveler, a female traveler, and our train engineer or train worker. These figures are rather basic, but they look great and they're awesome to add to the city. Only 2 of the figures have back printing, and the first 2 figures are travelers. The female has a side pouch, which is a pretty cool piece. I really like that, especially that it's in tan. We've seen these in reddish brown with Indiana Jones. And then our male traveler has a suitcase or briefcase, whatever you want to call it. I do like his Hawaiian style shirt, and then she has more of an athletic style shirt on her tank top. Our train worker, we've seen this torso before, including in the set last week. There's nothing too complex about him, but he does look good, and I like that beard with the glasses. My beard definitely needs a trim. Looking at the box, I said I would show all sides of the box. This is it. The back box art is really the only part that is most important to me. Everybody's seen the front of the box typically, or you could look that up, but the back of the box shows you the different bags that go into the different booklets for the set, what you can build. It shows the photos of the set, and then it shows this, which I love. It's a photo of a bunch of train sets from this era combined. I always loved that photo when I was younger, and it really just made me vision, what I could do with my city and trains, and how much you can build, which is exciting. Another thing I want to note about Lego train sets is they are a lot of fun to do as a group project with family, friends, whoever, because for a set like this, we have 4 booklets, 4 parts of the build. You could give each person a part of the build. Let's say somebody's relatively new to Lego, give them the platform. The expert should build the locomotive because that has power functions, and if there's intermediate builders, well, maybe give them the rear train car or the passenger wagon. They are complex, however, they're not as complex as building the locomotive with the power functions and the motor and everything else. I would do this with my friends when I was younger. I would typically build the locomotive and they could build any other part of the build. We then put everything together to build the train set, and voila, it looks like this with the train running around on the track. Now this train can get up to pretty high speeds, and in some cases it could tip, so be careful and don't do this at home. There you have it. That's all of this Lego train set. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to see more Lego train content, and tune in next week for the yellow cargo train. Thank you for watching.
Lego, my Jameso.